Adho Mukha Svanasana, Adho Mukha. So forward folding hero pose into dog head down and back into forward folding hero pose. So Virasana means hero pose, and that's just what we've just done, that kneeling action. So here, we're drawing back and extending forwards, resting the head down. From here, we're going to lift up into Adho Mukha Svanasana, dog head down, and then again come down into Adho Mukha Virasana. Alright, so let's get ready. Now, if you find your bottom doesn't stay down onto your heels, you can use supports here. 1, 2 foam pads, blankets, cushions, whatever. It's best to have contact. Now, if your head doesn't touch the floor, you may well want to have a brick. You may well want both. So each end of the spine has some contact, some earthing. Alright, so off we go. Sit back onto your heels, toes together, heels apart. Take the knees slightly wider than the pelvis. When we lean forwards, we're still softly moving the abdomen back to the spine, folding at the hip joint, extending the arms forwards, releasing the head down. So there should be no discomfort in this pose, no problems in the knees. If there is, then you can always sit on one chair and extend forwards to the next chair, which I'm just going to demonstrate quickly in case you're thinking, I can't do this. No man is left behind in yoga. So that's a way that you can work with a couple of chairs or with one chair into the sofa if your knees are an issue. Extending forwards, breathing softly. So now we're going to come up onto the hands and knees. Look at your fingers. So I don't want you turning to the screen when you're actually up in this pose, because it's not good to twist the neck around when we're in any of the poses. Don't swivel your head around to look at the screen. Just listen to the instructions. And if you can't get it from the audio, then come down, stop the video, go back, have a look at the demonstration again, and then come back into the pose. From your on all fours position, make sure that your fingers are spreading, your knuckles are pressing down, your middle finger is facing forwards. See if you can roll your thumbnail to face towards the ceiling. It's hard to do. That means you have to really spread in the hands. Now tuck your toes under, softly move the abdomen towards the spine, and lift up into the pose. Keep your heels lifted up. Look at your knees, lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles. Look at your heels, make sure that the heels are facing directly back and that they are equal. Look at your toes, make sure that your middle toe faces directly forwards. Are your toes spreading? Remember all that work we did last week. See, can you open and spread the toes? Look at your hands. Have your knuckles come up? If they have, press them down. If you need to come down, you come down into your Adho Mukha Virasana. So press with the heel of the hands, press with the knuckles. Now push the root of the thighs away from your arms. Lift up again. Lift your abdomen towards the spine, lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles, front thighs lifting, back thighs broadening, and use your breath. So on every exhalation, push your thighs back. Inhale. Exhale and push your thighs back. Inhale. Exhale, push your thighs back. Let the head and neck completely release. And now come down into Adho Mukha Virasana. Bottom back onto the heels, extending forwards, resting the head down, and using whatever supports you need. Just let the breath become steady. Strong action on the arms. Alright, and slowly coming up. Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. I'm demonstrating this now. We're coming back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So we've just done this pose. Now, if you've got a lot of furniture and so on around in your house, you may need to move things out of the way so that you can come into this, because you do not want to be hitting your foot against a piece of hard furniture. So what I want you to do, I want you to focus on, first of all, looking at this left hip. I don't want it swinging out, all right? That left hip has got to stay really firmly in. You're going to bring your feet together actually for this. Now, keep that left hip in, stretch the right toe back, and then you're going to lift that right leg up. It's not that. All right, the back of the pelvis is level. It's just as though the thigh is lifting up, and then you're going to repeat on the other leg. Okay, and then we'll release down and come into Adho Mukha Virasana. Come onto your hands and knees, and again, try not to swivel your head around to look at the screen if you can avoid it. If you need to replay this section of the video, then you can do that. Alright, so be on your hands and knees, softly move the abdomen towards the spine. Tuck your toes under, press down with your knuckles, press down with your thumb pad, lift up. Now, if you're new to the group, if you've not been doing yoga for very long, I just want you to focus on this action, your Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keep both feet on the floor if you're new to the group. Otherwise, bring the feet together. Look at your feet, make sure that the heels are together, your toes are spreading. Focus on your left outer femur. Hook it in. Hook it in. That particularly applies to those people who've got a lot of flexibility in the hip joint. Hook that femur bone into the socket. Then draw back with the right leg, and you might find, like I have, that, oh, I'm a bit close to the wall. So lift up that right leg, extend into the inner heel. If you need to adjust where you are, you have to do this slowly so that you're not hitting into anything. And adjust if you need to adjust. Keep your arms straight. Release that right leg down. Hook the right outer femur head in. Look at your kneecaps. Make sure that they're still facing directly forwards. Lift your heels. And then extend your left toes back, beyond the very nerve endings of your left toes. Hook in the outer right femur head and lift your left leg. So your kneecap of your left leg should be pointing towards the floor. The toes of the left foot should be pointing towards the floor. The back of the heel, the Achilles tendon, should be lifting up towards the ceiling. The frontal thigh really extending. What's happened in your right leg? Hook in that outer femur head. Release the left leg down. Come down onto your hands and knees. Sit back onto your heels and then extend forwards, rest the head down and breathe. Fine inhalation, fine exhalation through the nostrils. So again, if you need supports underneath your buttocks, underneath your head, you take them. And now just come up, sit back on your heels, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back and down. Bring your knees together. Okay, so just turn so that you can see the screen. We're coming into a standing position now, and we're going to come into Uttanasana, forward folding action, but onto the seat of the chair. So I'm just going to show. We will take the feet hip width apart, lift through the front of the legs, lengthen here. Then you're going to hinge forwards, take your hands onto the seat of the chair, and then we're going to lift the heels up, spreading the toes. So again, that action of opening out in the toes, but making sure that you're not swinging the outer heels out. The backs of the heels are going straight back, and then we'll extend the heels down. All right, so let's do that together. So So first of all, spread your toes. Have your chair in front of you. So you can do this facing towards the camera. If you can still see the screen, then do it facing towards the screen. Opening out in these toes, lifting through the legs. Now, press down into the outer foot bones. That will lift here through the insides of the legs, which is really important for these actions. Feel these outer hip bones. Hook them in. Lift here through the front of the pelvis. Hinge forwards. Take your hands down onto the seat of your chair. So press the heels of the hands onto the seat of the chair. If there's a real problem with the hamstring tightness, then raise the level of the seat up by putting folded blankets, towels, foam pads, whatever, onto the seat of the chair. Now again, spread your toes. Press down into the outer foot bones. Lift your inner ankles. Extend your collarbones forwards, softly move the abdomen towards the spine, and lift your heels up. So as we lift the heels up, they want to kind of swing in for many of us. So we have to turn the heels so that they face back. And think about this outside edge of your thigh. It's got to hook that femur head into the socket. Really lift up, really hook. Really lift up, really hook. Broaden through the back of the legs. You might get a little bit of cramp in the calves, cramp in the backs of the thighs doing this. Keep the kneecaps lifting, keep the thigh muscles lifting. So it's as though all of the flesh, all of the skin stays at that same height and you're just moving the heel bones down. So everything other than the heel bones is lifting up. So take the heel bones down, look down at your feet, make sure that the heels are not starting to swivel inwards. Lengthen those heel bones down, lengthen them down, lengthen them down, and take the heels down to the floor. Okay, and now slowly coming up. So what we're going to do now is, it's preferable to have a wall, but I appreciate not everybody has a wall and a chair to work to. You can use a door for this, as long as you're careful about people coming in and out of the door. We're going to take the hands down to the seat of the chair and we're going to draw the left leg this time back. So I'm a little bit too far away, so I'm going to just move. So just watch the demonstration. So the idea is that the back of the pelvis is level and the leg is extending to the wall. Now, if you don't have a wall to work to, or if it's too difficult to keep your foot up on the wall, you can work with a couple of chairs or with one chair and the foot to the sofa. You can work with your leg just coming straight up, but it's, quite a strong action to do that. So if you're working to the seat of a chair, you've got to just be careful that you don't hit the chair with your foot, but you can do it in that way. You can see how that will work, and it's quite nice because it supports your leg when you're doing it that way. So if you find that your foot is constantly slipping down the wall, then you can work with your foot onto the seat of a sofa or onto the seat of the chair. Alright, so we'll just try and get a rough idea of the distance if you're working to a wall by extending like that and then just swiveling around here. But you then need to check again. Hands onto the seat of your chair, get that lift through the legs and just check, are you the correct distance from the wall? If you are, come up, bring your inner edges of your feet together, spread your toes, push down into the outer foot bones, lift through the fronts of the legs, lengthen the tailbone down. Roll your shoulders back and down and extend up with the crown of the head. Breathe. So from here, we're getting this lift and extension through the front pelvis. Take the hands down. Now, outer femur heads, hooking in. So we're taking the left leg up now, so your right outer femur head has really got to be engaged there. Now stretch back with your left foot. Just put the toes onto the floor, don't take it up yet. Just keep the toes on the floor, make sure that that left leg is straight and strong. Now what's happening with your right outer hip? Hook it in. From here, it's just lifting up the whole of the leg. Now if you're using the seat of the chair or seat of the sofa, pop the toes onto the seat of the chair or the seat of the sofa. If you're using the wall, press that heel of your left foot into the wall, and with that action move your frontal thigh muscle to the bone, so that's the front left thigh muscle to the bone, and move your left thigh bone to the back of the thigh. Broaden in the back of the left thigh. Open out in the back of the left knee. Breathe. Now with control, release that down. What's happened to your right hip? Keep it hooked in. Now, come back up again into Talasana, gripping these outer hips. Make sure that they're connected. We need that connection for stability in these actions. Hook in with the left outer femur head. Just place the toes of the right foot behind you. Now again, engage this outer femur head on your standing leg. That's your left leg now. Keeping the toes of the right foot facing towards the floor. Stretch that right foot up. Now the gluteal crease on that back leg, the raised leg, has got to broaden from the inside out. That will keep the levelness in the pelvis. If you let that lift, then that will make the pelvis unlevel. So we've got to level the pelvis out, hook in this outer hip. Those who have a tendency to hyperextend, watch that in your standing leg. You may need to soften the standing leg. Those with hyperextension in the back of the knees, you may need to soften that standing leg so that you don't push into the back of the knee joint. Now with your raised leg, push into the heel. Move your thigh muscle to the bone, so your right thigh muscle moves to the right thigh bone. The right thigh bone moves into the back of the thigh and broaden the gluteal crease. Open out in your collarbones at the front and extend the crown of the head forwards. So we're lengthening through the breastbone. Breathe. Hard pose to hold, I know. All right, and releasing down. Coming back into Talasana, but taking the feet a little wider this time, gripping the outer hips. So we're going to come forwards onto the seat of the chair. I'll just show. We're going to fold the arms, stretch the arms up, and release down. Now, if the seat of the chair is too low, build it up with height. So that might be foam pads, blankets, whatever you need to lift that up, cushions or whatever. Okay, so grab hold of your left arm with your right hand, right arm with your left hand. Extend the arms up. Ribs back, soften the abdomen towards the spine, hinge at the hips, and then take the lower arms onto the seat of your chair, rest your head down. If there's shoulder problems, then obviously you'll be holding the wrists rather than the upper arms. Broad across your collarbones, just let the head release. Now lift your kneecaps, lift your thighs, press into your outer foot bones. The legs have not gone off to sleep, all right? You are not resting your legs. You are working your legs, you're releasing your face, you're releasing your neck, you're releasing your shoulders. Fine inhalation, fine exhalation. All right, and coming up and changing slowly, change the cross of the arms and coming back down again. So anybody with feeling a bit dizzy when you do that, make sure that you release the arms first and come up very slowly when we come up next time. So again, lift your kneecaps, lift your thigh muscles. You can see your legs here. So make sure that they're working still. Pressing into the outer foot bones, but relax the facial features, release your shoulders, release the sides of the neck, soften the abdomen, but thighs lifting, backs of the legs opening. So either you keep your arms folded and you lift up, or for those who feel a bit dizzy when you do that, just look slowly up, press the hands into the seat of the chair, and slowly coming up out of the action. Good.